Hi class, we're going to be putting all of our source code into Team Foundation Server, or TFS, and TFS is a source code control system, and I will be grading your source code for your last few projects from TFS. This will give you an opportunity to learn how to experience this tool that's used very often in the real world. TFS, as I mentioned, is a source code control system. So this is a great picture. If you look at it, we have this server, the TFS server, and we can have many developers that are saving their source code to this server, and they can access source code from the server depending on what their responsibilities are and what they would like to do. So as an employee that's told that you need to start working with TFS, you'd want to start doing some research. A little bit has been done for you in our setup module here where you found this video. There's a link to a visual guide to version control. This guide is not specific to TFS, it's more general, so it gives you some really good overview information about source code control, some of the basics, and some things that you need to know behind the scenes. Basically, when we have code that we would like saved to TFS, we're going to check in that code that's going to copy that information from our local machine to the TFS server. Then if we want to access that code at a later date to run it or especially to update it, we can check out that code and we can edit it and then check it back in again with our changes and our updates. Now sometimes we just want to use some code. We'll see that we also have the option to get code from TFS just for execution and to run to test with other things. But our basic process is we check in code and then we check it out to change it and update it and test it, and then we check it in again. And TFS keeps track of all those different versions for us so that we can go back in time to a previous release or check to see exactly what kinds of differences, what kinds of changes were added to the TFS server at any given time. So for us to use TFS, the first thing we need to do is establish a connection with our TFS server in Visual Studio. So I'm going to open Visual Studio. And in Visual Studio, since I'm going to be working with TFS, which we know stands for Team Foundation Server, I'm going to be using the Team menu. Before I do that though, I need to check one of the settings that's system-wide for Visual Studio. So on your Tools menu, select Options, and from Options, we want to find Source Control. When you expand Source Control, the first item is Plugin Selection. Use that drop-down list to make sure that your plugin selection is set to Visual Studio Team Foundation Server. That'll be your default. None of the other settings should be anything that you need to be concerned about, but you're welcome to take a look at them. Now, changing this setting is not going to affect your ability to get to GitHub and to use GitHub, but it will set your default to be Visual Studio TFS. So I should only need to do that once on my computer, each computer, so that that setting is set and it should stay set. Now I can use the Team menu option to do things, and what I want to do basically is manage my connection. When I clicked on Manage My Connection, if you notice, this window opened and it's called Team Explorer. So just like Solution Explorer lets you see all the files and folders and things in your solution, Team Explorer lets you see shared files and folders that you have on GitHub and TFS. I could also access Team Explorer by choosing View Team Explorer, and that would open up the same window. Now my things are showing a little bit of leftover stuff. Your screen will look a little bit different, and it'll be a little bit emptier. What I want to do though is manage my connections, and I want to choose Connect to a project. Now when I do this, let me remove this one, and then we'll add it. Now when you open this connect to a project, again your screen is going to look a little different than mine, and you won't have this hosted repositories option. So to get to that point, click this drop down arrow and choose add an account. My OTC account is already showing up here. Yours may be, it may be not showing up, but this is the one that you want to use. So use your student at otc.edu email account to create this Microsoft connection to TFS. Now, if you're using a version of Visual Studio where you've already logged in to a different Microsoft account, that's where you'll be switching back and forth. So choose your OTC account so that you can get to the OTC server, and that'll log you in. Now, because I've already done that, I should be able to, now that I'm logged in, add my TFS server. Now, the TFS server for OTC is CIS team, because we're using Team Explorer, right? .otc.edu, because everything that we access at OTC is part of the OTC domain, so we see it usually with the .otc.edu prefix or suffix, sorry. Now, when we're connecting to a TFS server, by default, if you notice, it uses port 8080. Well, we want to use a different port, so I'm going to use the colon character and choose port 449. And then I will have a slash and say I want to connect to TFS on that port. That should be what we need as a connection string for our OTC TFS server. So I'm going to click add now. Now, I have not had to log on to OTC's domain because this connection to my OTC account via the hosted repositories option has given me security access to OTC. If it does prompt you to log in, make sure you use your account name on the OTC domain. Let me see, can I make this a bigger font? Huge font. There we go. So if my normal OTC account is this, RR123456, I'm going to enter OTC backslash, and make sure that's the backslash character above your enter key, and then my OTC account. And that's going to log me in to the OTC domain so that I have access to those OTC resources. Use your OTC password, and in the end, you should see something that looks like this, where you see that CIS team OTC server connection. Now that I see that connection, I can expand it, and I should see all the different accounts. You'll only see your account, and you can click on your account. I'm going to scroll down and find mine. There it is. And once I click on it, I can choose connect. Now that I'm connected, I'll see different projects and things that I've worked on in the past, and I'll have many different options available to me. So I'm going to show you those in our next video. This concludes our establishing a connection to TFS video. Please let me know if you have any connection issues so that we can resolve them as soon as possible. Thank you.